For this meeting, the Hopkinton Conservation Commission is convening by video conference via Zoom, as posted on the town's web meeting calendar and the Conservation Commission agenda, identifying how the public may join. Additionally, the meeting may also be broadcast by HCAM through one or many of its channels or platforms. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that others may be able to see you and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Please also keep yourself on mute unless and until called on by the chair. Supporting materials that have been provided to members of the commission for this meeting are available on the town's website. This meeting will feature public comment. After commission members and staff have discussed each project application on the agenda, the chair will open the discussion for public comment. Members of the public who wish to speak are asked to identify their name and address. 3 minutes will be afforded for each public comment. Each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted via a roll call of its members. I will now confirm which commission members are present. Ed Harrow. I think you're muted, and I think we need it out loud, Ed. Can you unmute, Ed? I'm going to come back to you, Ed. You're muted. Jim Cirillo.
Here. Present.
Maggie Shaw.
Present.
Ed Harrow.
Okay, so I've unmuted myself, but I can't temporarily unmute myself, so I don't know what that's all about.
Okay. Walter Garland, have you made it in the time I was reading that? Not yet. And we believe Matt Moyen and Melissa Recos will be absent today. Let me make sure neither is in the room.
Okay. And I do see Walter in here, but not sure if he's getting his audio set up.
All right. Oh, I see him there. Walter, can you hear me? Walter, you're on mute, and I cannot see your face, so I'm not sure what's going on. Thumbs up. I think we need a verbal present, Walter. Okay, well, we've got, even without Walter's verbal present, we do have a quorum. I am Ted Barker Hook. I will be chairing tonight's meeting. I will now confirm staff that are present. Judy Day, the Hopkinton Conservation Administrator.
Present.
Anna Rogers, the Environmental and Inspectional Services Coordinator.
Present.
And Joe Orzel of Lucas Environmental.
Present.
Great. We do have, I want to let the public know and anyone else, that we have 4 hearings that have been continued per the applicant's requests. Those hearings are 115 Wood Street, Kelly at 15 Montana Road, Nealon at 1 Hickory Way, and Agalitas Energy at 0 Franklin Road. All 4 of those have been continued to August 25th, 2026. And Walter, is your mic working? Yes, we will find out when we find out. Okay, it is 7:07, so why don't we dive into the work session items. The first is draft minutes for review. I took a quick look, and I think we're going to have to table the draft minutes from July 14th, because by my count, we don't have 4 members present here who were also present at that meeting. While we do have Walter and Peggy in the room, they missed the July 14th meeting, so that would be only 3 votes. However, the April 28th minutes we can look at and approve. I have one quick correction to make. Unless I misread it, I am not counted in the attendance at the beginning of those minutes. I have never looked at the attendance until tonight when I was looking at the attendance for the July 14th. And I'm not there, but I was clearly a part of the meeting. So we will need that edit made.
Thank you. I can change that.
Was there anything else, commission members, that you saw to offer corrections or amendments to those minutes?
None for me.
Seeing none, I wonder if I could get a motion and a second to accept those minutes with the correction I offered Anna on my name in the attendance for the night.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Great, we'll go through a roll call vote to approve those. Oops, I lost my attendance. Okay, Ed Harrow,
Yeah, aye.
Jim Cirillo. Jim,
Aye, 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 aye.
Peggy Shaw,
Aye.
and Walter Garland. Walter, I think we're having audio issues with you. Give you a second to see if you can work that out. See if I can find Walter's. I see you, Walter, and is the mute on?
Yeah, if
Can you
he's
give us a verbal, Walter? Have you no mic?
if you've got like headphones, maybe it's syncing your microphone wrong. If you check your audio settings, that might help.
Why don't you work on that, Walter? We need 4 votes to pass it, and Ted Barker Hook, I vote aye on those minutes, so that's 4. And hopefully we can get your audio going here, Walter. Okay. So I think we're good with that. Am I right, Judy? That works without Walter's vote?
Yep.
Great. All right, continuing on work session items. 7:10, we'll be able to tick off at least one of these. Lee and Lou, I'm mispronouncing that second last name, I think. 85 South Mill Street, an informal discussion about tree removal. Do we have somebody from 85 South Mill?
Yes. Yep.
Great. And I see the plans up. Can you fill us in, Mr. Lee, on what it is you're hoping to discuss?
Yes. Oh, so yeah. Well, so I talked to I think I already talked to Judy and Anna. So thank you so much. to allow the sunlight to the roof. That's the purpose. I don't want to consume too much time to explain that, so you can see the map. So that's what I want to apply for the approval for this tree removal. So also I don't want to remove more trees at the water line. So I try to give like a visual block to our neighbor. So yeah, that's it. So very simple.
Great. I have one really quick. It has nothing to do with your trees or your request. It's just our records. I notice in the Zoom window, you're spelling your last name L-E-E.
Yes, actually, a lot of people. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, because a lot of people spell pronounce the wrong thing, wrong my last name. Actually, it's in my passport still L-I. So
Okay, so we have it correct in our paperwork.
yeah.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I wanted to make sure our paperwork was correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So about the request. So I think that probably Judy or Anna filled you in because these 3 trees are within the 100-foot buffer. They're jurisdictional, and so you do need our input on them. I'll offer a couple quick thoughts, and then I'd like to hear if any commission members have thoughts. I don't remember a request. I've been on the commission for, I don't know exactly, but maybe 8 years. And I don't remember us getting a request for tree removal for solar panels. Certainly there have been solar farms that have moved in that have talked about tree removal, but for an individual homeowner, this is the first that I can remember. And for that reason, this is potentially precedent setting, which puts it in kind of a different category in my mind for our considerations for your requests. Secondly, often when we have people asking to remove trees within our jurisdiction, we often ask for certified arborists to attest to the health of the tree. I don't think that you're suggesting that any of these 3 trees are unhealthy, though, are you?
Well, so so since so this is my major, so I studied biologist. So this is not unhealthy. For my judgment, it's not unhealthy. So not unhealthy, but the remove a tree is not for the because of health or unhealthy tree condition. So it's not my best judgment to say this good tree or bad tree. I love trees. Oh, okay, I love these trees.
Sure. So it really just boils down to the solar company's request or requirement that you remove these trees for them to do business with.
Yeah. So I negotiate with them. So they want more tree to remove. I volunteer to search our permission requirements. So I didn't say yes to them. So that's what I went to the town to ask for. Hey, what's the information I need to do? What's the step to do? So I'm happy to talk to you guys. Help me understand more, right? So, but if only 3 trees, it require me to do more I need to get more research to involve and more cost to go there. I will think about it.
I'm curious, Mr. Lee, whether you got a second opinion, if you got it from a different solar company, what they thought of putting panels on your roof.
Well, so I quote two solar panel companies. They also talk about the same thing because even in the daylights, the tree already blocked almost half day of our roof. So I still need to turn on my lights in the day.
Was there any talk of trimming instead of removing trees?
Well, so look at it. That's what I say. That 1, 2, 3, not 2 more. Is that they thought I need to cut about 8 to 10 trees. I said, I don't want to remove these trees. I just want to keep it as much as possible. So one is very close. The tree one is very close, attached to my to my deck. Yeah. This is almost, if you come to the house, you see that almost touch that. So I can jump to the tree from the deck to the tree. I can jump to that. So the front, also very close to. So it trim the cost of trimming to the removal. So that's my personal opinion. So to remove it is the best option for us.
So one hesitation, an additional hesitation I have, Mr. Lee, is I took a look at your house from the Google Street View, and it looks like your roof is bathed in sunlight. It looks like there's lots and lots of sunlight falling on your roof, according to the Google Street View. I had meant to drive by today, but I didn't get there. And so my own reaction is a bit hesitant on this request. But I am not the entire commission. And I wonder if other commission members have questions or thoughts.
Yeah, I welcome any commission members stop by. Welcome
Ted?
stop.
Ted, this is Jim.
Yeah, Jim,
So-
please go ahead.
Good discussion, good questions. I don't recall either when we've had an applicant wanting to remove trees for the sole purpose of solar. Although I could think of a couple instances where we may have, and I'll talk to Judy or whatever offline, see if we can find them. But at the time, I don't know if we had the proposed solar company or the would-be solar company submit information about the sun's trajectory and all whatever data they use to show that it's necessary. If we haven't required that and we've never done it before, then we should require it now. Solar companies should submit to us a report that shows why they concluded that whatever number of trees need to be removed. So just a thought.
Okay, thank you, Jim. I like that thought. Some documentation from the solar company itself.
Yeah, to support the recommendation of removing trees.
Right, of
I
course.
mean, right now we're just sort of taking it on faith and in the Google space shot or whatever, but they
Right.
do, I think, a pretty extensive analysis of the location and the sun's trajectory and maximum, input, output, stuff like that. They should have to produce that and provide that to us to support taking trees down.
And I would say, Mr. Lee, and we're going to have, I know that Ed has a comment. I would say I am a huge proponent of renewables. But we also have a charge of protecting the wetlands and the buffer zones. So a little bit I'm torn in two different directions. Anyway, Mr. Harrow, our biggest tree hugger, do you have thoughts?
Yeah, with an intro like that, I won't disappoint. So I do have to confess that on open space, we had a similar issue where trees on open space property were shading a house where they wanted to put solar panels on. And I went and looked, and one of the trees was a pine tree of no particular significance. The other tree was a nearly dead ash tree. It was a very big ash tree on town property, which would cost a lot of money to take down. And if it was left standing, posed a significant risk of large limbs falling on this party's house. So in that case, we concurred with the request that they pollard the tree, meaning leave the basic trunk standing so that it served as food sources for woodpeckers and the like.
Hmm.
But the tree, again, I point out, was, if not dead, was as close to dead as it could be on Monty Python and not be dead.
Right.
In this particular case, my vote is simply no. I totally disagree with the concept of cutting down perfectly good trees to gain a bit of solar power. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's not dead, it's stunned.
What was that, Jim?
Nothing.
Okay. Peggy or Walter, do you have thoughts that you'd like to share? I don't want to put you on the spot.
Can you hear me now?
I can, Walter. It's good to hear you.
I had to resort to my phone. I could not get it to work on my computer. I think in this case, I would just defer to the commission members that have more experience with stuff like this. So I will go with the flow.
Peggy, again, I don't want to put you on the spot. You can just wave me off if you've got nothing.
I like Jim's proposal that some documentation of how much shade with this would and not just the trees as they are now, because these look like fairly young trees, but what are these trees, how much shade are these trees, what's the canopy going to be 10 years from now? Is it going to completely shade the roof? And I think if the arborist or the professional can provide us with some documentation showing that this is actually going to be a problem, in putting solar on, then I'd be personally be willing to consider it.
Okay. I will chime back in. I think what Peggy's saying, what was brought up earlier about getting documentation from the solar company, I think what they should provide us is not only just what their opinion is, but okay, if we don't take down these two trees, say that, okay, they're only going to get 50% as much production, something that would let us know that exactly this extent of how this is impacting a solar installation. So would they go from zero? If they don't cut these trees down, there really is no payback or benefit to doing solar. Or, okay, you could leave these two trees and they would only be 50% efficient. So I think something like that would also be good to add, because I would not want us to have, just a total yes or no. It's like, okay, what are we totally considering here?
Right.
So, yeah, so may I say something?
Sure, we'll try to move
permission.
toward the end
Okay.
of this one, Mr. Lee, but go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for input. So, we do not sign the contract with a solar panel until we can get allowed to the treatments, right? So, okay. So yeah, everybody have the concern. Actually, if I were you, I will be in the same situation to ask for the permission. Well, I got it. But how can it is like a chicken and egg? Either go this, either go that, right? So do you have any idea? Allow me to go forward. Next step, what is that? Maybe an option is that to plant another tree in my backyard so maybe some option for me. Okay.
So here's what I think I can recommend, and then I'll throw it over to Judy to see if she has more. I think that the feeling of the commission right now is for us to consider approving tree removal, we need more information. And I think that information would be some documentation from the solar company. I would also encourage you to find options to see if they're all in agreement. And I'm also wondering, I do not have solar on my house. I've thought about getting solar, so I've never dealt directly with the companies. But my understanding is there's kind of two models of getting solar panels. One is you get them virtually for free, and the company takes the energy for the first X number of years, essentially. The other is you pay for them, and then you start reaping the benefits yourself immediately. I don't know which model you're looking at, but if the company is insisting on tree removal, it sounds like the first model, because they are looking to maximize their energy intake. If it were just you putting panels on your roof and you were paying for it, I can't imagine that they would care about how much sun is hitting your roof because they get paid up front. So I wonder if that gives you two different routes to explore, perhaps. But if you do want to submit a formal application, Judy and Anna can help you with the paperwork. I think what we would want to see is more information from the company you're working with, the kind of things that you heard from some of our commission members. You should also know that we would almost certainly ask for replication. So if 3 trees are removed within our jurisdiction, we would ask for a replanting of 5 or 6 trees or something like that. And we would want to see a plan for where you plan to replant those trees. That's a kind of a standard move for us if trees are being removed within our jurisdiction. And again, that's the kind of thing I think that Judy or Anna could help you with if you choose to move in that direction.
Well,
Judy,
so thank you so much. Thank you.
Judy, is there anything I'm missing that might be of help?
One more question. So if we plant new tree, so it's like a young tree, or have to be like a some size of a tree requirements?
I don't remember the numbers offhand, but yes, there is some expectation that they are not saplings as big as my hand. But I don't remember what those numbers are right now. Again, Judy or Anna could help you with that, I think.
All right, thank you.
Judy, is there anything I missed that might be helpful to Mr. Lee?
No, through the chair, I think based on what I'm hearing, I'll be suggesting, Andrew, you file it's called a request for determination of applicability, just because this is a bit of a step up over a hazard tree request. So that'll just be an organized way to submit to the commission the information they're asking for. And you've already gotten a wetland scientist out there, so you're well on your way to getting that done. So I can follow up with you and provide that information.
Oh, thank you.
Is that good for now, Mr. Lee?
Well, so well, thank you telling me that not only opinions but also the knowledge. Since last year we moved up from Florida, so from Everglades to the New England.
Welcome to Hopkinton.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, Judy, we don't have to vote to close this hearing or anything, do we?
No.
Right. Okay, thank you. Mr. Lee, maybe we'll see you down the road.
Yeah, thank you. Yep.
Okay, we're going to move to new hearings. It's 7:30 on my watch, and I need to read some documentation to open it. So let me find that. And here it is right here. The Hopkinton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, August 11th, 2026 at 7 p.m. virtually online to hear all persons interested in a notice of intent filed by Maury Gasser for a replacement septic system with associated site work. Location 28 South Mill Street, Assessor's Map R25, Block 27, Lot 0. Maury, are you in the house?
Yes, I am. Do you
This
see me somewhere?
This is a different circumstance than we normally see in Maury.
Yes, it is. That's kind of weird.
It is. It throws me for a loop too. Can you fill us in a little bit, Maury, on what it is you're asking?
Okay, well, basically, I've been trying to sell my house and I failed Title V. So I need to get a new septic system installed. And we did the engineering work, and because there's a pond on one side and a well on another side, and then there's a property boundary. So there are some constraints as to where it could go. And I will defer to Joe to explain exactly what we're looking at here.
Okay.
Joe,
can you give us some highlights of what you saw on this plan?
Sure, absolutely. I believe Judy has the plan on the screen. You can see Maury's home to the bottom right. South Mill Street is off to the right. In anticipation of trying to find a solution on Maury's behalf, we had Scott Heim take a look at the site, Northeast Ecological. He identified a host of resource areas we needed to be aware of. Cold Spring Brook, a perennial stream, flows in from the northwest. You see that over to the left-hand side of the plan. That flows into the water body that is Blood's Pond, that small pond that flows under South Mill Street and heads on easterly. So we've got the water body of Blood's Pond generally all along Morey's southerly boundary line. There is a BVW, bordering vegetated wetlands, associated with that, and Scott Heim delineated that for us. And he also identified an area that is prone to flooding on the federal FEMA maps that gives us an area of bordering land subject to flooding, which is very near the BVW along the bottom of our plan. So we identified an area up in the middle of the lawn that tried to balance all the interests. There is Morey's drinking water well, which is up in the top right of that plan. To maintain the 100-foot offset that the health department needed, we had to shift ourselves a little more westerly, further from South Mill than I think we wanted to originally. That puts us inside the riverfront area, about 150 feet from Cold Spring Brook. So in that location, we've generally been able to keep our site work out of the 100-foot buffer zone. Just some of that area associated with regrading and reworking that area and cutting some brush puts us about 94 feet from the BBW edge. So we're very close to the 100. Our issue appears to be work inside the riverfront area. We've got 66,000 square feet of riverfront area, and we're looking to alter 2220, or 3% of that area. So well under the guidelines that the state has put together for the 10% of the riverfront area. And we've done our best to minimize that footprint. We will be installing plumbing and tanks outside the riverfront area and pumping to that. So we've done our best to keep our footprint as small as possible and as far east and as far from that perennial stream as we can.
Period. That's it, Joe?
Yes.
Great. Okay, I didn't want to cut you off. I think Joe Orzel of Lucas has had a chance to look things over. I jotted down what I thought were some highlights, Joe. And maybe Joe Marquardt, I'm not sure if you saw Joe Orzel's comments, but I'd be interested in hearing a little bit of back and forth. Joe, do you want to hit your biggest points?
Sure. I did go out and review the delineation and had no issues with the flagging in the field. I'll also note that the pond at the site is a labeled pond on the USGS topo, and therefore it's considered not to have riverfront area. So it is delineated and shown properly on the site plans. Would also note that there is a little bit more buffer zone and riverfront area on the site than shown. It's not in any area that's proposed for work. Generally between the house and the pond, and the buffer zone would be from the bank of the pond, and the riverfront area would actually be from where the river discharges on the other side of South Mill Street. It would cast the riverfront area back into that corner of the property, but not within any area proposed for work. But it would add some additional riverfront area, so the total riverfront area disturbance on the site would be a little bit less than what was quoted. I did note that the tree line in the area between the existing barn and the proposed leach field contains a dense stand of bamboo. And while bamboo is not listed as one of the prohibited species on the Mass prohibited plant list, it is generally considered invasive, and I wouldn't be surprised if down the road it's not added to the list. Would just recommend that the contractor take care not to, if any of that's being excavated, which it looks like it will be, takes care not to spread that material offsite anywhere where it could regenerate into another stand of bamboo. with regard to the alternatives analysis, I think, as was stated, it looks like that's about the only spot that they can squeeze it in on the site with the constraints from the well and the buffer zones. I think the one other item was that the buffer zone is drawn from the BVW, but it's not drawn from the bordering land subject to flooding limit. And I think it might bump the buffer zone line a little bit further up toward the septic system leach field. So that might be something to look at and show on the plan. And I think the last item was that there are permanent PIBs shown on the plan, and the commission should discuss if they're satisfied with the locations of those. And would also recommend that the erosion control line be clarified on the plan, possibly with a heavier line weight, as it was really tough to pick up what was the actual erosion control line, but had no problem with the location. I think that covers my comments.
Great, thank you, Joe. Joe Marquardt, I was just trying to read your face to Joel Orzel's first comment on riverfront area. I don't see your face on the screen at all now, Joe Marquardt. Are you there,
I'm
Joe?
not sure what you're referring to.
So Joe Orzel's first point had to do with, he thinks that there's a little bit more riverfront to be shown on the plan, which actually makes your numbers even better. And I was looking at your face when Joe Orzel mentioned that, and it looked like you weren't clear or disagreed. I just was wondering if a talk on that point is worthwhile, but maybe I misread your face.
No issues. We asked Scott Hine to identify the areas, and that's what you see here.
Okay. Okay. All right. So from what I saw, I like what Joe Orzel said about some sort of management plan for the bamboo. I wonder if we could at least have something in writing guaranteeing that the work being done is not going to spread the bamboo. Since the house is being sold, it's probably hard to ask for Maury to develop any plans to control the bamboo. But at least during the work, if we could kind of make sure that the contractors know about its presence, I think that.
Can I answer that?
Yes.
I spoke with the contractor, and they've done this kind of thing before. The plan is where you see the leach field right now, there actually are bamboo rhizomes underground, extending well past even the leach field, and so there's already bamboo kind of under the ground, but I keep it mowed so you don't see it coming out. Once a year I mow it, and it's a lawn basically. So it looks like a lawn, but there are actually bamboo rhizomes there. What they're going to do is they're going to dig 5 feet down and bury the bamboo that they have to cut 5 feet below the ground in that same area. So it's going to be under where the rhizomes are today. It's not going to go somewhere else. And also, yeah, you can see there, what you see is basically a lawn, but a lot of what you see on the lawn, especially on the right side, there's actually, there's a network of bamboo rhizomes underground. So they're going to dig into that, put the bamboo that they cut in the hole 5 feet down. It can't regenerate that deep because the bamboo only grows within a few inches of the surface. So that's, it'll kill it basically. But even if it did, it wouldn't be coming up in any new place because it's already there in that area.
Joe Orzel, does that sound good?
Yeah, I just, the other point I would say is any soil going to be transported off-site that might contain the bamboo rhizomes?
No, there's no plan to transport any soil. They're going to put new loam on top. But I don't think there's any plan to move any material away.
Let's start a bamboo somewhere else.
Through the chair?
Yes.
The grade, the resulting finish grade will be very similar to what you see there today. So there will not be any excess material to be trucked off site.
Okay. Okay. In my notes, there was a question about tree removal. Do we have any trees proposed to be removed within our jurisdictional area?
Now, Judy, do you have the ability to pull up photo 0985?
I'm not seeing that number, but I'll just scroll through and let me know when I should stop.
Okay. Oh, right there. Oh, back up one, please. See the white picket, see that one right there. See the white picket fence
Yes.
at the corner? That's about the corner of the leach bed. So as you travel to the right into that dark area, that is shade from the pine tree that are along that boundary line, form a visual break between Maury and the neighbors. The worst that may happen is some limbing has to be done on the lower level in order to get the machinery in there, because right about the limit of work. That the only thing that maybe happen is some limited limb clearing, but no tree takedown. So there will be no trees lost.
Okay. Judy, is that the kind of thing we would want written down, or do we just take their word normally on that?
Through the chair, that's something we could certainly put as a condition in any order of conditions, as well as the notes regarding any soils containing bamboo fragments.
So I like that. They're not planning to remove any anyway, so it shouldn't be a hiccup, but at least we have something written down. I don't know. So my last 2 points were again about the plan, where it seemed to me Joe saw some inaccuracies on the plan. I don't know, at least in my mind, if making those adjustments would make it harder for me to approve the septic work. But I wonder if for posterity, we want plans that fit what Joe thinks is more accurate. Is that something, Joe Marquardt, that you could help us with? Making some adjustments? That was a yes?
Yes.
Okay. So if you could take a look at Joe Orzel's comments on a couple of those. Joe doesn't seem to think it would shift that 100-foot buffer line much at all. And the additional riverfront, again, would only help your percentage of riverfront disturbance if you made those adjustments. So I guess, at least as far as I'm concerned, and then I'll open it up to the commission and public, is a question of PIBs. I think what I see are 4 PIBs. Is that right, Joe Marquardt?
5.
1, 2, 3, 4. Where's the 5th?
1 up by the leach field and 4 down along Blood's
okay.
Pond.
Yeah, I missed the one by the leach field. And what is? Oh, that's the edge of the wetlands. And is that a contour line? 262, right?
261 is the bordering land subject to flooding.
Okay, and 262 is a contour.
Right.
Yeah, I guess if I had my way and my way alone, I think I wouldn't want to take back any lawn necessarily, but more PIBs along or close to the 261 line, I think would be a good idea, wrapping around the barn. Judy, if you could just kind of trace and then go to the far side of the barn to connect the dots, kind of. With our standard distance between those PIBs. That to me feels appropriate. As I think you know, Joe Marquardt, we have been in recent years really pushing for PIB markings to help us out with future problems that may crop up. So I would love to see that. I'm not looking to take back any lawn or anything in this case, but especially since we may get a new owner, I want to make sure there's no confusion about where to stop.
So just for clarity's sake, down there at the bottom left, the PIB, we want to continue north and west along the bordering land subject to flooding.
Yeah, that's what I have. Line. And then I think probably behind the barn, or maybe like the barn becomes part of the PIB. I'm not exactly sure what Maury's doing around the outside of his barn right now.
There are some trees there around where the 261 that could be used for PIBs.
Okay, so whether the barn becomes part of the PIB or the PIB goes around the back of the barn, whatever seems to make the most sense. I have a lot of trust in you, Maury. I think that you've shown us you're a wonderful steward of Mother Nature. So whatever makes the most sense, I would love to see a plan updated with PIBs that are a little more protective for future owners of your home.
Through the
Okay.
chair,
Yeah, Judy.
just given that the resource areas in this lower corner aren't shown because that's not where the work is, do you also want PIBs extended behind or along the side of the house here?
Oh, I wasn't even looking at that side. Yeah.
I guess it'll depend on what the plan change looks like when Joe goes to add in the resource area here, but might be another spot for some PIBs.
Yes, I wasn't even thinking about that side of the plan because it kind of disappears. What I really don't want to do is slow Maury down. But I also don't want to leave too much on your table, Judy, to approve on our behalf. So I don't know what the best course of action is and what you're comfortable conditioning and approving on your own if we choose to vote tonight. I wonder if I could just let the commission members weigh in if anybody else has thoughts. Going once. Twice.
Through the chair, this is Ed.
Yes, Ed.
I concur with your thoughts about extending the PIBs.
Both to the north and west and to the east at the bottom.
Certainly to the north and west.
Okay. Thanks, Ed. Judy, would you be comfortable conditioning that many PIBs, or would you not be comfortable approving that much without our input?
Personally, I would recommend that you get all of the plan changes you want prior to closing the hearing.
It does sound like some extensive plan changes, even if they're not controversial. Maury, would you be okay continuing one meeting before a vote so that we could spiff up the plans?
Well, yeah, I'd like to schedule, I'm trying to schedule this work to be done end of September based on when moving and so on. So
our next meeting is when, Judy?
August 25th.
Does that still work for your time frame, Maury? Could you book and then? My gut feeling is, and I'm only one member, if we get the updates to the plans, we're ready to vote. And I got a feeling that there's not much to hold things back.
right.
Would you be comfortable continuing to, would you say the 25th, Judy?
Yep, 25th.
And then maybe you
25th.
could book some contractors for the end of September, and if need be, and I don't think you would need to, delay them?
I guess that would work. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I think that's the best course for the commission. So if you're okay with that, Maury, we'll have a vote for a continuance to the 25th.
Through the chair, this is Ed.
Yes, Ed.
Haven't we in times past voted to approve with certain minor changes, if it were, as it were? In this case, a certain minor changes being a few PIBs, but that the basic plan is acceptable as it is?
Well, except I think, Ed, we're looking for some other modifications to the plan following what Joe Orzel saw. And Joe Marquardt was comfortable with those changes. So it becomes more than just a couple PIBs, Judy was pointing out.
Yeah, through the chair. We do that a lot with COCs because there's not a timeline after the commission votes on the COC for staff to get that document to the applicants, but there is with orders of conditions. So if we don't get materials within 21 days, you're kind of shooting yourselves in the foot because there's nothing requiring anything after you make that vote. So that's why I'm just recommending you get a clean plan prior to voting on any notice of intent.
Okay.
And
So with
far
that,
be it from me to argue with Judy Day.
I feel the same way. The last person I want to argue with is Judy, except for maybe Jim. So with that, and with Maury's thumbs up, I wonder, can I get a motion? And
Well, let me just say, I mean, it is an additional expense for me to continue this.
I don't think we're ready to vote though today, Maury.
Okay.
But I think that this is the fastest we can get you to a vote.
Okay.
So with that, could I get a motion and a second to continue this hearing to August 25th? Right, Judy? I keep saying the date. That's right, right?
Yep, that's right.
A motion and a second, please.
I'll make the motion to continue it to the next meeting.
In a second?
This is Ed, I'll second.
Thank you, Ed. So let's have a roll call vote on the motion to continue. Ed,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Peggy,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
and Ted Barker Hook is an aye to make it unanimous. Thank you, Maury, for your patience. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, moving to our next item. Here's my agenda. 7:54. Thistle, 360 Wood Street. I have got to do a little reading, so give me a second to get caught up on my notes. And here we go. 360 Wood. The Hopkinton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, August 11th, 2026 at 7 p.m. virtually online to hear all persons interested in a notice of intent filed by Joanne Thistle for a replacement septic system with associated site work. Location, 360 Wood Street, Assessor's Map U2, Block 11, Lot A. And I think I saw Ms. Thistle in the meeting.
I'm here.
Great. Would you like to, or do you have someone representing you who would like to present your project?
I have someone representing me, Dave Marquinot.
Great. Dave,
Hey, good evening.
good evening. Welcome back.
Thank you. As you stated, we're here. Joanne's septic system is in failure. Location is 360 Wood Street, just prior to North Street. North is straight up the page. Wood Street's on the left side. We have 3 wetland systems on the property. We have one at the front of the house, front of the lot. Unfortunately, we have a catch basin and a culvert that goes underneath Wood Street that discharges into Joanne's front yard. That's Wetland Series A. The house is just to the southeast of that wetland. Garage to the north of the house. We have Wetland System B highlighted in the green. Here we go, from kind of running south to north, northeast. And then we have a system way up at the top, the swamp, Wetland Series C. The existing system currently sits on the southeast corner of the existing house. Our intention is to remove the existing tank, leave the existing field. We've situated the tank as close as we can to the house. We're just off the minimum. We're at 10.4 off the house, 10 being the minimum. And then we turn and run our pipe northerly, gravity, to our septic system, highlighted kind of in between the 2 buffer zones, 3 buffer zones, 100 off the A, 100 off the B, 100 off the C. All but the southeast corner of the septic is outside the buffer. We do have trees on the north side of the system. Jim alluded to that in his letter. We located a total of 42 trees 5 of which fall inside your domain, inside the buffer. All 5 are, 4 out of the 5 are dead, my opinion. 1 is an extra pine tree. So our proposed access, our driveway, it comes down from Wood Street right to the garage, in the left side of the garage. We're going to access our activity from that driveway to the rear of the driveway, turn right, head south, and install our tank, and then put our pipe in and then install our system. We've made a couple of corrections on the plan already. Down opposite the southeast corner of the house, the northeast corner of the house, we have a 30-inch oak tree. On our previous plan, the erosion control, yep, right there, yep. Erosion control was on the west side of the tree. We're very limited on space for access to deliver our tank, so we moved that to the east side of the tree. Small little change. And then, Judy, if you could go up to the north, to the top right-hand corner of the blow-up of the trees, please. There we go. Perfect. So we have 5 trees, a pine tree, three pine trees, an unknown, which I think is an ash, and an oak tree. Those are the 5 trees that we're going to take down. The one pine tree is healthy is number 40, tree number 40. So we have erosion controls, quite a few wrapped around on the south end, coming up along that 30-inch tree, just outside our activity, along the east side of the proposed septic, and then we stop at the northeast corner of the system. We didn't extend the hay bales going west at that point because our terrain goes up and we're grading down. So we feel that if there is any sort of movement, it would be collected by that erosion measures downstream. We've modified the limit of work to avoid 3 trees. Tree number 22, tree number 36 and 37, which made a small decrease in our activity inside the buffer zone. Stockpile that we show to the west of the system is slightly smaller than once shown and has been moved slightly west. We're showing also 8 PIBs, either through some trees or cedar posts with some medallions. That's kind of where we're at. We do have a bittersweet down off of the it's kind of a smaller bush off of the garage. We intend to take that down and remove it and try to control that as part of our process. That's kind of our summary.
Great, thank you, Dave. Judy, when you and I met yesterday, there was no DEP number. Is that still true?
Yep, no DEP number yet.
Okay, so to the commission, when I hear a failing septic system, that sounds dire, but our hands are tied. We're not going to really be able to vote to approve this week without a DEP number, which is a bummer for a failing septic, but it also gives us a little bit of flexibility because we can't approve it regardless. So with that, Joe Orzel, if you could give us some of the more important comments. I don't know, Dave, if you saw Joe's comments.
I did, yep. Yeah, we've addressed quite a few of what we think or have an answer for Joe's comments, yep.
I am open to you two having a touch-up back and forth as long as it's without asking my permission, as long as it stays productive. Joe,
Perfect.
Could you go over your comments?
Sure. So I did review the the delineation and had no issues with it. I will say that wetland A is kind of a strange area with doesn't have hydric soil, but it does have evidence of flow coming into that area and flooding that area from that culvert outlet, and it does meet the vegetation criteria just with facultative species. So It is a wetland, but a little conservative delineation because it doesn't have the hydric soil, but it does have the other evidence of hydrology. I think it was already mentioned that there's the area labeled as existing bush the plan contains a dense stand of oriental bittersweet that looks like it will need to be excavated through in order to do the work right there. So the applicant needs to be careful not to spread that anywhere on site or off site, more importantly. The site is also mapped, a portion of the site is mapped within natural heritage estimated habitat and priority habitat. The limit of work is approximately 25 feet from the edge of the mapped habitat. So while it's not proposed to do any work within the actual map line, the habitat does exist on the site. Generally, when there's habitat mapped on the site, we recommend that Natural Heritage be sent a copy of the notice just to make sure there are no issues. I doubt there would be with this work, but I think that's something that probably should be done. I think I had a comment on tree cutting. It looked like some tree cutting would need to be done. That was addressed. There were no BBW forms submitted for Wetland BC. There was for Wetland A. I don't know that it's necessary, but the commission can discuss whether or not they think that needs to be submitted for the record. I didn't catch if the date of the field survey had been added to the revised plan or not. Typically, that's something that we ask to see on the plan. The PIBs are on the plan, commission to discuss those locations. And I did recommend that the erosion control barrier go a little bit further west, but as was stated, the slope goes up there. So if that's the case, I don't think that needs to happen. And I think that pretty much covers my comments.
Thank you. Dave, anything coming out of those comments that would be helpful for us to hear?
Wetland A, I did talk with Scott Hahn. He had flagged the wetland. He was unable to attend tonight, but he seems to remember not having his notes in front of him that we had some hydric soils at A, but regardless of that, it's wetlands. Bittersweet, we understand. The same contractor that's doing your previous hearing is doing this one as well, kind of in the same timeline. So we're going to address the invasives with him as well. We did make corrections. Timing of the survey has been added to the plan, note number 43. And the previous note about trees, no trees were to be cut, was a mistake. That's been removed from the plan. Natural Heritage, we could send it to Natural Heritage if that's the board's position. We're very limited as to where we could put this new system. Our proposed activity at the tank is in an already disturbed area. We've moved the tank as far east and north as we could to utilize existing plumbing. We're not disturbing that particular area 25 feet away of heritage, natural heritage. We're pinned in. We couldn't go with a system and plumbing to the west out the front. We had to utilize the system, the plumbing out the back, and then move our system, as you see, quite a bit north to avoid that area, as well as minimize activity inside the buffer zone. So I think if we were to send it, I'm not sure the timing, how long Natural Heritage would take to comment. We feel that the comment would be that I think you've done the best you could with location of utilizing plumbing in your tank in proximity to utilizing existing disturbed areas. I think that might be their comment. So I don't really see the need to ship it to natural heritage, but we will. But we're just worried about a time frame.
Thanks. I will admit that this natural heritage designation is new to me. I don't remember discussing it in my time on the board, so I don't know. I'm looking to Joe Orzel and Judy to help with how important that recommendation is. Do they have to approve the work? Do they just have to be notified? That's new stuff for me. Joe Orzel, could you maybe educate me on what that area?
Yeah. If work is proposed in a mapped habitat, within a mapped habitat, natural heritage has to be notified.
I'm sorry to interrupt. In the habitat or within 25 feet or just
within the habitat? If there's work proposed within the habitat, then natural heritage needs to be notified.
And that they would have to approve?
And they would have to, yes, they would have to issue a statement that you're not impacting the species that are mapped in that area.
But in this case,
it's seeing as this is outside the 25. This is 25 feet outside the area, and it is in previously developed area. I think it's very likely that natural heritage would come back and say, there's no impact. And
is it kind of a filing out of courtesy that you're recommending, or is it really a?
Well, generally, if there's mapped habitat on the site, we recommend that natural heritage be sent a copy. But I think the letter of the regulations is that if you're working within the mapped habitat is when they need to be notified.
Okay.
Yeah.
Judy, can I look to you? Do you have help for me on this issue?
I don't think I have anything to add aside from what Joe said. I'm happy to make a phone call to DEP or Natural Heritage to ask more specifically, but they're probably just going to say, send it to us if I do that. So I think it's up to the commission.
Okay. All right. So we'll table that for a second till I open it up for the commission. According to my notes, and it's only a one tree difference, but according to my notes, I'm looking for it. I thought that we were looking at maybe 2 healthy trees. But Dave, you thought it was 1. Either way, there might be a discussion for replication for tree removal, especially for healthy tree removal within our jurisdiction. Is it truly 1 tree? Is it 2 trees? Are we talking about replication of 2 to 4 trees?
I count that we're cutting a 4-inch dead pine. We're cutting a 10-inch dead pine. We're cutting a 5-inch unknown. We think it's an ash, but dead. We're cutting an 8-inch oak that's dead. And then we have an 8-inch pine, which is tree number 40.
And Joe, are you in agreement with that? Did you look that carefully at the trees?
That information was not on the plan at the time that I did the site inspection. And I just received those revised plans today. Haven't had a chance to look at that real closely.
And I think, Judy, we have some photos of that area of the yard.
Yeah, I have the pictures that Dave sent me, and I've got Joe's field pictures. So here are Dave's pictures. I'm not sure which exactly.
Yeah, so that shiny little area where the mulch is, just to kind of give you some reference, that's the area of our stockpile area. So that's why we set it there. So maybe I took these pictures in order, standing on kind of the middle of the system, looking left, turning right. So maybe the next one down, Judy, number 2. Probably next one down, please. Probably we tagged all the trees in green. That's probably some of our particular areas probably there. That's a hunch, but that's probably where we're at.
I think you can see the green tape on some of those, yeah.
Yeah.
Leaves, I certainly can.
No, I think you're further to the east, but yeah, I think that's kind of generally where we're talking about.
And
Those
then-
two trees there, maybe tree number 10, which is a 5 and 7 inch pine.
Okay.
I'm guessing. Yep.
The next photo, there was a lot of green tape, but are those not jurisdictional?
I tagged all 42 trees
Yeah.
just to let, you know, if anyone was to walk out there, these are the ones that we had located. So we can kind of use sizes, and if we had to walk it, that's the ones that we located. So also just wanted to make sure we were thorough and got them all.
Located to be removed or just to put on the map?
Just to put on the plan.
Okay.
Yep.
So there is no plan to remove those necessarily, because just looking at the trunks, they look plenty healthy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Those are probably the ones that are, you know, number 30 and 31, inside the buffer zone, but no touch.
Okay. So I guess my feeling is if we have one healthy tree to be removed, I would love to see a replication of 2 trees, which I can't imagine is too difficult. So somewhere on the plan within our jurisdiction, the replacement of 2 trees, I think, is in keeping with what we normally ask for. And then I'll open it up. I'm not used to being the chair, everybody. I feel like I'm hogging airtime, but I think that's my job. If we can look at the big plan again to just kind of get a look at those PIBs to see if there's discussion on adjustment. Could you trace the PIBs, Judy?
Yeah, so I definitely see there are these squares here.
Yep.
There.
Yep. Right along the tree line. Exactly.
And
Yep.
then what about on the other side towards Wetland A?
There's a couple here.
I only did them on the east side of the erosion control against the tree line at the back side of the lawn.
So there are no, do those PIBs currently exist or are you proposing those?
We're proposing those.
So there's no proposal for PIBs guarding Wetland A at all?
I do not. We have planters there and lawn. We could look to see if there's any existing trees there that we could tag. We'll look at that between now and our next meeting.
Okay.
So,
And then I guess the last thing for the commission to keep in mind, and it's my note with the red arrow, is one of the bigger points, and you could circle it maybe, Judy, is the work within the 50-foot buffer. And Dave, you're suggesting there is no better place for that tank than where, is that where the current tank is, or is it being moved to that location?
the current tank is very close to the inside corner of the house.
There's the proposed tank.
Yeah, and go about 20 feet to the, see that little circle right against the top edge of the planter? That's a concrete cover. That's where the tank is.
Oh, I see.
Right there. Exactly, right there. Yep.
And is there no way to put the new tank where the current tank is? I don't know how these things work.
No, the tank needs to be 10 feet from the house in order to conform. And we're at
Okay.
10.4 where it currently sits.
Okay. So really, there's no flexibility there. And I didn't hear Joe Orzel bring up anything about that, so I assume he concurs that there aren't really many alternatives for it. Okay, with that, I look to the commission for any questions or observations or critiques or suggestions.
Through the chair, this is Ed with something more than idle curiosity.
Go ahead, Ed.
Wetland A is around the storm drain area?
Correct.
Isn't that considered a wet detention basin and not subject to any protection?
We feel it has hydric soils. It's classified as a wetland.
Yeah, that wasn't my question. I thought that a wet detention basin was not subject to protection under the Mass Wetlands based on some personal experience.
The skinny portion of the wetland coming right out of the culvert has eroded the ground, and then it slowly settles out and filters in through the woods. And then as the rain comes, it comes out of an area between wetland 4 and wetland 5, comes southeasterly all along, and then along the south end of the house, and then right through the old septic system, heading down towards flag B4, between B4 and B3. So there's quite a flow on a good-sized storm that zips right through wetland A and right across the lot down into the swamp in the back. There's some settling, yes, but there's a continuity to it.
Through the chair.
Hold on, Ed, do you have more?
No, that's my question, and maybe Joe has a bit more to say about it.
Okay, that was you, Joe Orzel, with through the chair.
Yeah. The exemption would be, I mean, that applies to a constructed stormwater area. This is just an area in the woods that is receiving the water that comes out of that culvert. It's not constructed in any way as a stormwater basin. It's just a relatively flat area in the woods, slight depression, natural depression, where the water kind of ponds when it or collects when it comes out of that culvert. So I would not consider that a stormwater feature.
Joe, while I got you there, my notes say that there were no wetland delineation forms for wetlands B and C submitted. Is that true?
For BC, correct. There was a form for wetland A. I have no issue with the delineation of wetland B and C, but if the commission would like forms for the record, then they could certainly request those.
Dave, is there a reason for that, especially since wetlands B does have a direct impact on the work that's going on?
We can provide those. Yep, we can, by next meeting, we'll have those.
Great, thank you very much. Commission members, any other questions or concerns? I have neglected in the previous two hearings. Is there anybody from the public that has a question or concern? Okay, so Dave, again, since there is no DEP, we can't vote anyway, but I think that we've given you a couple things to work on, and hopefully maybe the DEP will come through and maybe we can button things up for the failing septic next meeting.
Correct. Yeah. Can we summarize the corrections? Yep. So we're looking.
Notes were good enough for the summary.
We're looking for 2 plants, 2 trees, 2 plants, PIBs in the buffer zone for wetland series A. Field data sheets for the wetland series B and C.
Yeah.
And what was the answer on the natural heritage?
Oh, that's right. I said let's table that. Commission members, what are your thoughts on the natural heritage? Do we want the applicant to notify them? Do we want to let that slide?
Through the chair.
Yes, Judy.
Maybe just a suggestion. It's a little hard to picture how close the work is to the natural heritage layers. Could they possibly be added to the plan to give commission members a better sense of the proximity? Since we're making plan changes anyway.
I think that's good. My worry is, I like that a lot. But does that then mean another delay once we look at it and say, oh, yes, you should be in touch with them? Yeah. But maybe that's up for the applicant to decide. But it would make sense to put that on the plans, I think. Dave? Dave, I think, oh, no, you're not frozen. You were just in thought.
Yeah, just a thought. Yeah. We'll do our best to trace that line and put that on paper. With that in mind, if it's outside our proposed limit of work, we would like to forego contacting them and see you on the next
so
meeting to hopefully approve.
Let's take a quick poll of the room. If it proves outside of the Natural Heritage Commission members, are you okay? Is anyone going to insist on contacting Natural Heritage, an endangered species, if it's shown on the plans to be outside of?
I would not require it.
Okay, I don't see anybody requiring, Dave. So assuming when you get that information, it's outside of their land, we are in agreement to stay quiet about it.
Outside the limit of work, not outside their land, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you.
I will say I can't speak for the commission members who aren't here, but that is only 2 of them. So.
Yep.
Okay, and you're comfortable with the continuation to the 25th?
Yes, please. Yep.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion and a second to continue this hearing to August 25th.
I'll make that motion. This is Ed.
Thank you, Ed.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Peggy. And we'll do a roll call. Ed Harrow.
Aye.
Jim Cirillo.
Aye.
Peggy Shaw.
Aye.
Walter Garland. Uh-oh. Did we lose you, Walter? Looks like he's working on it. Well, we can go to this again. Ted Barker Hook is an aye, so that's 4. And hopefully we get you back, Walter.
There we go. Sorry.
Walter, are you an aye?
I'm having fits with this microphone tonight.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's 5-0 for an aye for the continuation. So, Dave, we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks for working with us.
Thank you.
Okie dokie, moving right along. We've got another new hearing at 8:24. And I've got to read the paperwork. 64 Saddle, 64 Saddle. The Hopkinton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, August 11th, 2026 at 7 p.m. virtually online to hear all persons interested in a request for determination of applicability filed by Rick Taylor, Jr. for a replacement septic system with associated site work. Location, 64 Saddle Hill Road, Assessor's Map R12, Block 5, Lot D. Do we have someone from Taylor or a representative from Mr. Taylor present, or Ms. Taylor?
Yeah, hi, my name is Paul DeSimone with Colonial Engineering.
Hi, Paul, welcome.
I'm standing in for Karen Skinner, who filed all the stuff for you guys.
Okay.
And Eric, who did the design. We do all of Civilized Solutions base maps. He does the designs, Karen does the flagging and the filing. This particular septic system is called an Elgin, which is supposed to treat the effluent before it gets to the water table. I personally wouldn't drink it myself, but it's supposed to be clean. The existing tank is where the proposed tank is, and so that will be pumped and crushed and removed. There's very little grading on this septic system. You can see the 97 contour at the south end of the system is as far as the grading is going to go. He's got a 40 mil plastic barrier protecting it. The ground will look pretty much what it looks like now, sloping down. I know if he had moved it out to the front where the existing system is, he would need a pump because he only has 2 foot water. He has a 2 foot difference between the water table and the bottom of this system. So if he had moved it more to the north, that would have to be pumped up. And the existing septic's there. And you usually like to leave the existing what it is, if it's trenches or whatnot, because of the contaminants, and we don't want to get into it, so that's why it's where it is now. It's approximately 65 feet from the wetlands. The wetlands were flagged by Karen. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with her, right?
Yes.
And so he's 100 feet, over 100 feet from the well. You see where the test hole was done. Eric told me there's one tree to be removed, which is between the system and the road, which they're going to kill the roots. It's a good tree. So I'm not sure if you want us to plant a couple to take that one out. He's calling for straw wattles and silt fence to protect this area. All the stockpiling work and machines will be outside the 100-foot buffer, other than actually digging for the system. Tanks outside. This is a 4 to 5 day process depending on the inspections from the town, and they're usually pretty quick. You guys are pretty good. So I don't see this, especially if the weather holds up, taking more than 4 or 5 days to put this, install it, loam, seed, everything.
And that's it?
That's all. It's pretty basic.
Just a point of clarification. On the map, on the plan we're looking at, north is to the left, Saddle Hill runs south.
Yep.
So when you say shifting it north, you mean kind of more directly in the front yard when you look.
Yes, where the old system is now.
Right, okay. I just wanted to be clear that north is not up. Because when I looked at the plan, a question I had is what's wrong with getting it outside of the buffer completely? And I think you've given us your answer to that.
Yeah, it would require a pump, and we really don't want to get into the old system. We don't usually do that. I have done it. I've done that. It's kind of a mess. You got to remove a lot of material because of the all the stuff that gets settled in the ground. So we like to stay away from it. And being an I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I should let you finish. I'm sorry.
And being an alternative system, it's not going to affect the wetlands. Again, it's supposed to be clean water. That's the theory.
Okay. And given that you're saying it'll necessitate the removal of one tree, I assume that currently is lawn. That's all previously disturbed.
It is, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm only one commission member again, but I do think that to be consistent, if there is a removal of a healthy tree within our jurisdiction, replacing with 2 trees within buffer zones would be consistent with what we look for.
That's fine. That's fine.
Let me throw it over to Joe Orzel. The first part of our discussion, which is simply the septic, because there's a second part that we're going to have to talk about. But Joe, looking only at the septic portion of this discussion, do you have anything to add that would be helpful to the commission?
My biggest question was, as you had stated, why the system couldn't be moved further, more in front of the house, out of the buffer zone, and I think that was addressed. So with regard to the septic system, I think that was really my only point.
And you feel comfortable with that answer? That makes sense to you? Okay. Okay. Commission members, again, regarding the septic system only, I'm not sure how carefully you dived into the materials, but there's a second level to our discussion. Regarding the septic system only, commission members, does anybody have a question or concern or request?
You're right.
No, almost.
You should.
I had to think for a moment.
Okay. So this is an RDA request, but before, never mind, I'm not going to ask for public input yet. Before we take any action on the RDA, I think we have to have a second level of discussion. Because when Joe went out to take a look at the septic work, and when Judy and/or Anna went out, we found some unpermitted work being done on the property. And I wonder, Judy, if you could walk us through some of what you saw.
Sure, let me put my cat down. So it's not depicted on the plans that we have. And it was roughly between the house and the wetlands, and this was on Joe's review memo, there's a shed structure. And there is also what looks like a fairly sizable gravel drive extending off Saddle Hill and going through buffer zone towards the back of the property. Happy to pull up some pictures, but those were some features that we had requested be added to this site plan. And I think with Karen being on vacation, it just didn't get added at this time. But we do not have a record of those having been approved by the commission in the past.
Okay. And you're looking for the satellite photos to show?
Yeah, I'm scrolling through Joe's pictures and see if I've got a good angle.
Does it look recent to you guys? Or is the shed old or?
I don't believe we have looked back at like historical imagery to see how old it is. This is the gravel drive. It doesn't look like it's been touched up recently at all, but it is still there as sort of a bare patch.
That's not pavement, that's gravel?
Yep. Yeah, stones,
Okay.
not paved.
Oh, I see the shed, okay.
And then the shed in the back here. Yeah, pretty close to the wetlands, but again, we don't know exactly how close.
Are you able to pull up an overhead view? Because I think next to the
Yeah.
shed, besides just the gravel drive, it looked to me like it wasn't lawn. I don't know if it was more gravel next to the shed there to the right of it.
Pulling it up as we speak.
Okay, thank you.
There we go. So
There we go.
fairly large gravel driveway, cars parked, some storage, and then, yep, the big shed here.
And then, yeah, and I can't tell clearly I assume that's north. To the north of the shed, it looks like dead grass or just tramped down dirt. But to the south of the shed, it looks similar to me to the gravel drive. I don't know what that material is. So what we've got is a hiccup. The septic is one piece to discuss, and it seems fairly straightforward, but it reveals to us some other questions that we have.
No, I agree. Has the shed, so they've never filed for anything on that shed? Because that looks pretty big.
Yeah, I can even scroll back and see it's 2020, it's still there. So, and there used to be a pool. So, I mean, yeah, it's been there for quite a long time, but again,
and the gravel drive has been there for quite a long.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can send my guys over there to locate the shed, and I can locate that gravel driveway too. That's not a problem. Put it on this plan.
Could we see the plan again, Judy, please?
Here we go.
Right. So now, could you, Judy, just really quickly to help people out, trace with your cursor where the gravel drive is, where the shed is, roughly?
Yes, this is a very rough approximation.
Just to help people from the picture.
But it looks like the gravel drive comes in generally around here.
In between the 25 and the 50, yeah, okay.
Yeah, definitely within buffer zone.
Yeah.
And it looks like it extends, let's see.
I didn't see the well on the aerial, but I'm assuming the shed is pretty close to it.
Yeah, the shed is behind the well, so it's between the well and the wetlands. So
Okay.
it's most likely within the no disturb zone, if I had to
Alright.
guess.
Well, we can locate all that stuff and get it back in here. That's not a problem.
And then the other thing that as long as we are updating the plans and making them accurate, Joe Orzel did mention in comment 2E about there not being any permanent immovable barrier markers. And if we are moving towards getting the plans accurate and thinking through work that was unpermitted, more accurate plans might also include proposed PIB markers.
All righty.
So
Go ahead.
So one of the things, and I'd be interested in what the commission thinks, but one of the things that Judy and I kicked around is putting out an enforcement order which simply asks for the plans to be updated so that we can think through the unpermitted work.
Okay.
But perhaps we can approve the septic tank work and break it into two separate discussions.
Okay.
Judy, am I correct in thinking that that's a possibility if the commission was comfortable?
Yep, I think that makes sense.
So I'm going to look to the commission. If you have thoughts, we could. I wanted to make sure we talked about the unpermitted work. And if the commission is comfortable putting out an enforcement order requiring plans that are updated, including all of the things we talked about, including also proposed PIB markings. Is that something the commission feels good about?
The chair, this is Ed.
Yes, Ed.
Isn't this similar to what we just went through with Mr. Gasser on South Mill Street? That we're going to permit the septic to go forth and then separately going to ask for other things? And why couldn't we have done that with Mr. Gasser?
You're the chair. I can answer that, Ed.
Go ahead, Judy.
This is an RDA, so it's a different permit type. So it's not necessarily giving permission to do the work. It's saying you're not requiring a notice of intent. So there's a little bit more wiggle room. And it sounds like if the commission chooses to issue an enforcement order, that would be the vehicle by which you would potentially be able to require a PIB, whereas in Maury's case, there was no enforcement through which to do so. So the notice of intent was your only option to get that PIB and plan change. Please don't be mad at me, Ed.
So as I said before, I will never argue with Judy Day.
Can I ask you a question, Jeff?
Yes, please do.
So if you give us an enforcement order, that's fine. Do you want us to file an NOI to do that work? Because I guess you're going to be asking for some to restore that area, I'm sure, where the gravel drives are. So we do that under an NOI or determination?
So I think, and I'm again looking to Judy to make sure I'm understanding things correctly. I think that we can do this two different ways. We could make it an NOI and then the septic work can't be done until everything is buttoned up. Or we could say, well, if we only look at the septic part, that's fairly straightforward. And we can approve the septic with an RDA, but then look at the rest of it as an infraction and say, now we've found your infraction and the enforcement order is helping us deal with that unpermitted work. And it becomes essentially two separate discussions. I myself am comfortable making it two separate things, but I am looking for the commission to see if they have the same level of comfort. I would also throw in not only if we do the enforcement order and make that a separate discussion, then not only can we say we're looking for some PIBs, we might want plantings or removal of gravel, or that then can become a bigger discussion separate, where we can really think about what do we think about this unpermitted work and what would satisfy the commission to make amends.
Okay,
so that's where I stand.
But my question is, yeah, if you handle the septic under the RDA and you give us an enforcement order, would you want us to file a notice for the enforcement order or just stick with the discussions on fixing what's there?
No, I don't think so, because I think this part of the enforcement order is simply give us more plans so that we can have more discussion.
All right.
What comes from that discussion, we'll see. But for now, the enforcement order is, there are no fines, there's no work to be done. It's simply give us plans that more accurately reflect the current state of the property.
Sure. All righty. On your permanent markers, did you put those on the 25-foot boundary?
So different people put them different places. A lot of it kind of depends on the topography of the land. It depends on where the current tree line is.
Okay.
So there is no spot we always wanted. If there was a lake, often the lake edge is the PID. So you're
Yep.
right there on the lake. If it's a property where there's a tree line 100 feet from the wetlands, very often the PIDs are 100 feet away, but there's wiggle room there. We can.
Alrighty. Some
Through the chair.
I'm just saying because some towns require them, like on the 25-foot no disturb zone, and some towns require them in certain spots. But if you guys have, leave that up to us, that'd be fine.
Well, and maybe Anna has the thought on that.
I do, thank you. My suggestion would be to wait on the PIB and condition it as part of the enforcement order, because then, as to Mr. DeSimone's point, if there is some restoration, you don't want to be saying, all right, put them on the 50 or put them on the 25 now, and then have to readjust them. So maybe figure out exactly what is the disturbance, where's that gravel driveway, and then figure out what you actually want to allow for disturbance on the property would be my suggestion.
That sounds good to me. I think I was rushing the PIBs just because I didn't want to forget about them. So, but that sounds good to me. So I'm looking to the commission. Are you comfortable with A, voting on an enforcement order that asks for more complete plans? Follow that up with B, voting on the RDA, or would you rather keep this one issue where the first step is the enforcement order? Do commission members have feelings on those options?
Through the chair, this is Ed. I tend to the latter.
Keep it one package?
Yeah.
Okay.
To the chair, I like the idea of separating them.
Straw poll. I think, including my vote, it's 2-1 right now. Anyone else have strong feelings?
I don't have strong feelings. I could accept either one, but I guess I'm inclined towards the full or one package, I guess.
Okay. All right.
Through the chair.
Yes, Judy.
Maybe an easier way to word it is ask for a motion for a vote on the RDA application. And if folks are comfortable issuing it with the information provided, they would vote yes. And if they're not, and they would rather see those revisions through the RDA application, I think they would vote no. That might just be an easier way to get a head count.
All right. So I'm trying to remember the phrase. What is the phrasing on the RDA? Judy, help me out.
To issue a negative determination of applicability. That would allow the work to move forward as proposed.
So what I'm looking for is a motion to issue a negative determination. And if then that was voted yes, it would mean go ahead and work on the septic. I'm looking for a motion for a vote of negative determination in a second.
I'll make that motion.
With signatures, please, if it passes.
With signatures.
Signature if it passes.
And also remember, I repeated again for probably the third time, a yes vote means that they can proceed with the information submitted. A no vote means that additional information is required.
Yes.
All right, y'all?
But we're looking for a second on your motion, Jim.
Second.
Okay. So if you vote yes, you're essentially saying you can go ahead with the septic work. If you vote no, it's we want to deal with these other things in addition to the septic work before we approve. So with that, hopefully as clear as we can make it, let's have a vote. Ed Harrow.
No.
Jim Cirillo.
No.
Peggy Shaw.
Aye.
Walter Garland.
Yes.
And Ted Barker Hook is a yes. 3-2 passes. We don't need 4, Judy? Just a majority of those present?
Yep, correct.
Okay. So with that, the septic work is approved. What I would love to get now is a motion to issue an enforcement order asking for more complete plans, including the shed, the gravel driveway, tree lines, something to help us think through the work that's been done and what we might do with it. That enforcement order would be to be submitted by September 9th so that we could discuss on September 29th. That timing works, Judy?
Yep, that gives the applicant about a month to make those plan changes to be on the agenda for, I believe it was the last meeting in September.
And you need our permission for signatures on an enforcement order?
Yes, please.
So, could someone make a motion for an enforcement order to get more detailed plans with the details we just talked about, and approve Judy and Anna to give our signatures?
I will make that motion.
Walter made the motion.
Yes.
I'll
Make
second.
that motion.
I'll second.
And a second from Jim. A roll call vote on the motion for an enforcement order. Ed Harrow,
Aye.
Jim Cirillo,
Aye, yes.
Peggy Shaw,
Aye.
Walter Garland,
Yes.
and Ted Barker Hook is also an aye. So hopefully we get that paperwork by September 9th, which gives us all time, including Joe, I hope, a chance to look it over so that we can have a discussion September 29th.
We will get all that stuff into you by the beginning of next week. I'll get my guys out there right away. And I
Thank you,
appreciate
Doug.
your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Whew. Moving right along, we are out of new hearings. All of our continued hearings.
Through the chair, sorry.
Oh, what did I miss?
You have to read the hearing notice for
you're right.
Charitable Trust
Got it right in front
and
of me.
continue, please. Thank you.
Wrote that note at the top of it and I forgot. Our next new hearing is continued, but we still have to open the hearing. So the Hopkinton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, August 11th, 2026 at 7 p.m. virtually online to hear all persons interested in a notice of intent filed by the Mazamine Charitable Trust to raise and enlarge a religious use building with associated site work. Location 115 Wood Street, Assessor's Map U14, Block 24, Lot A. The hearing is now opened, and I'm looking for a motion to continue that hearing and a second to August 25th, 2026.
I'll make a motion to continue that.
I'll second.
Here we go. Walter and Jim, roll call vote on the continuance. Ed Harrow,
Aye.
Jim Cirillo,
Aye.
Peggy Shaw,
Aye.
Walter Garland,
Aye.
and Ted Barker Hook is an aye. Now, I'm sorry about that, Judy, but thank you for the reminder.
Wait,
Now we
hey,
can
Ted.
move away hearings. We have no continued hearings, so we're back to the work session items. And we're jumping to Davis, 1 Huckleberry Road, a violation discussion continued for tree removal. Judy, can you give us an update on where we are with this?
Sure, through the chair. So as a recap, at your June 9th meeting, you voted to issue an enforcement order related to unpermitted tree clearing in your jurisdiction, requiring the owner to provide a wetland delineation and stump survey of their property, as there was not one on record for the property. These have been provided. We got them a meeting early, and the homeowner wished to discuss the results of the stump survey and wetland delineation with the commission. I would also note, as I pull this up here, that I have not sent this to Joe yet. It looked like all of the tree removal that I had observed is within the buffer zone anyway, so I think it's for the commission to decide, A, if they want this wetland delineation peer reviewed by Joe, or as well, if you want the wetland delineation depicted to extend through the whole property, as it looks like it's just the segment closest to the tree removal.
Great.
I've done a little bit of advanced math using the new replication policy in draft form if you'd like to hear some of the numbers on potential replication, but we'll leave it at that for now.
Why don't you know? I would love to hear that. How many trees do you count that have been cleared within our jurisdiction? And what would that mean based on our current guidelines?
Sure. So the surveyor located 45 stumps within the 100-foot buffer zone to the wetlands on the property here. I did some quick sketching based on, so this is the draft replacement policy that you all have been reviewing. It separates out the cut trees by stump size. So it's not DBH, it's stump, which is a little bit larger than DBH. I counted 4 that are greater than 20 inches, 22 that are 6 to 20 inches, 18 that are 3 to 5, and just 1 that was less than 3. The owner was asked to survey locate all trees greater than 2.5, so nothing smaller than that was located on the plan. And then depending on the size of the stump, there were different ratios that we were applying for replacements.
Great. Thank you, Judy. And you said Mr. Davis is on the line?
Yes, I did see him.
Mr. Davis, can you give us your thoughts with our newest information?
Actually, this is Dave Crossman with B&C Associates. I'm representing Mr. Davis.
All right, Mr. Crossman, thank you.
Mr. Davis had proposed to do some couple landscaping projects on his property. And upon looking at the GIS maps, he did not note that any wetlands on his property. And I have checked that there are no wetlands shown on the property. There are wetlands across the street. Mr. Davis then had a tree company come in and clear the area that he was going to do his garden and tree. He was going to do some fruit tree planting and a couple other items. He had the tree company clear that area. And then the commissioner asked him to stop, which he did. I know that subsequently, I believe he did get approval for a couple of tree removals very close to the house. Mr. Davis then hired B&C Associates to come out and delineate the edge of the wetlands, which we did the area within proximity to the clearing. I know there is more. The wetland boundary actually loops around. There's a couple catch basins out there, culverts under both streets out there. But this was we did the area that would show the buffer zones completely throughout the area that had been cleared. And then Mr. Davis hired Applewood Survey to come out and locate all the information that the commission was looking for. And I believe we had until the 25th to provide you with the information, but Mr. Davis was a little anxious. So he got the information into you as quickly as he could. And now tonight, I guess, obviously we're here to discuss how the commission would like to see this proceed and answer any additional questions if you have any about the site.
Okay. And we have not been able to send out our environmental consultant to look at things to see whether he agrees with this delineation or not. And that for us is almost always going to be a sine qua non for moving forward. I, for one, would love to see, I realize that you've only done the buffer delineation where the trees were removed.
Right.
At least I assume no trees were removed on the other sides. But because I want to think through replication and where replication might be located, it would be very helpful to me to see buffer zones indicated entirely around that wetland. So to the south and to the southwest up there to Fruit Street again. That would be a new plan that I would love to see. And once we get that plan, my thought is then we could ask Mr. Orzel to go out there and see if he's in agreement with what you guys have scoped out. I don't want to ask him to go out before then because that would require a second trip and that would require more money from Mr. Davis. So in an effort to save a little bit of money and have Joe only go out once, what I would love to see is a more complete plan with the buffer zones indicated in their entirety.
All right.
I assume no other trees have been removed. So
No,
that
there have been no other trees. All work was stopped as soon as he was told to stop.
okay. So that would just be to help us think through next steps, not necessarily find other violations. I do have a quick question, and I can't remember if I got this answer in a previous meeting or not. What is the crushed stone surface and landscaping ties, and was that approved work? Is that an issue for us at all?
I don't know to answer that
Okay.
myself.
Is there a member of the Davis household in the room that can answer?
I believe Rinson Davis is on the line on his phone. I don't know. So maybe Rinson, can you answer that question? Was that crushed stone filed for previously?
I think I hear an echo of noise. I don't know if that's him or not.
I see his phone number, but he's on mute.
Judy, do you know about that crushed stone area? Is that approved work? Is that?
Yeah, through the chair, we do not have a record of approving that work. Looking at aerials, it seems like between 2024 and 2026, there was some extensive clearing and the addition of that crushed stone area. So that would be in addition to what's shown as the clearing most recently.
Okay.
So 2024 here. And then shoot up to 2025. You see this little.
Could you back up again then? 2024? So it looks like there might have been some tree clearing to make that area as well. Okay. And that's going to be impossible to track down what trees were there or were not there, but that's work that was not approved. Okay, Commission, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to propose, but before we do any vote, I would love to hear some input from you. I'm going to propose a second enforcement order requiring the plans be updated so that we can make sure we stay on time. And I think it would be on the same time frame, Judy, that we could get updated plans by September 9th, because that's what we did with our last one. That seems to be enough time frame. It's not like we have a failing septic, so we can take our time and make sure we do this right and that all parties have a chance to really be careful about what we're looking at. So Commission, that's going to be my proposal, is that we ask for the plans to be improved, that we require that the plans be improved so that we have more to work. With that said, Commission members, do you have thoughts or questions or other ideas or paths to follow?
I'm good with what you've said, Ted.
Okay, thank you, Walter. Seeing none, I keep forgetting the public, but is there anybody from the public that would like to weigh in? No. Okay, so what I would love a motion for is a new enforcement order asking for the plans to show buffer areas in their entirety around the property. I don't think, Judy, do we put in enforcement orders explanations for like what a gravel area is and where it came from, or is that just something to keep in mind for discussion?
We can ask for a narrative. Yep.
So I would like a narrative for what that work was. It sounds like it was recently enough that hopefully the owner knows.
And are you also wanting to specify that you want Lucas peer review for that plan, or would you like to determine that once you see the plan and whether you think it needs that additional review?
I certainly would like Lucas to review. Does that go in an enforcement order? If we get it tonight, do we think
it just might take a little longer. So if we want to include peer review, maybe bump them out a little bit longer.
Do you have a recommendation for a little longer?
So we gave this particular violation about 2 months to get the first wetland delineation. The meeting following September 29th is October 20th. So we would need materials by September 30th.
All right, so why don't we do that? So if I have this right, we're looking for a motion for an enforcement order for more complete plans, a narrative describing the work that was done around the crushed stone surface, and permission for Judy and Anna's to provide our signatures. Does that cover it, Judy? I'm looking for a motion and a second.
I'll make that motion.
Ed with the motion.
I'll second it.
Peggy with the second. Roll call vote. Ed.
Aye.
Tim Cirillo.
Aye.
Peggy Shaw.
Aye.
Walter Garland.
Aye.
And Ted Barker Hook is an aye as well. So I think that covers it.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Crossman.
All right. Thank you.
And we'll see you in a little bit, maybe. Or maybe we'll see someone else from your company.
All right. Thank you.
Either way, thank you.
Yep. Bye.
All right. Speaking of violations, we move on to 90 Fruit Street at 903. Fruit Street, Bay Path Humane Society violation discussion. Judy, can you give us a summary, maybe with some optics for what happened?
Sure, through the chair. I'll pull up some of my pictures while I read through this. So on August 3rd, we observed sediment-laden stormwater originating from the project site. Related to Bay Path, this was specifically the area within conservation jurisdiction where they were installing the water line. Turbid stormwater from that site area entering into wetland resource area through malfunctioning erosion controls. So you can see the silt fence had kind of tipped over and the dirty stormwater was overtopping the wattle in the silt fence, ending up in the wetland at the bottom of the grade there. So kind of channeling through. The contractor at the time mentioned he might need to change the grading plan for the area. They'd already installed the water line, but since there was a potential need to change the grading plan, we did issue a cease and desist for work in jurisdiction until the erosion controls were repaired and the incident and these new grading plans had been discussed with you all. So the applicant has made improvements to the erosion controls. They've got a few folks on the line and happy to answer any questions, but the commission to discuss any next steps or information they would like to see with regards to the incident or the new grading that might have to be done to prevent similar issues in the future.
And at present, we do not have a plan for the grading submitted.
Correct, yes.
Okay. So if we have representatives from Bay Path, and I just want to make sure that I have this little narrative of events correct. I believe an initial email was sent regarding problems on July 30th, but I believe that neither Anna nor Judy got any response to that email of any kind. And then a return visit on August 3rd showed that no action had been taken and that there were worsening problems. And then finally fixes, at least there was evidence of fixes made by August 6th. So we have a little bit of a period there, 4 days at least, where the workers were unresponsive to our prompts, which is a little concerning. So do we have representatives for the folks doing the work for Bay Path on the line who can tell us about their side of the story?
Good evening, Mr. Chair and chambers of the commission. And on behalf of RP Maciel, this is Greg Dumas. I'm the senior project manager on that project. And I do apologize for the situation. And I was away, I was out, I was not local. And by chance, our superintendent that has been on the job was not either. We had an interim, I had an out of the office. And by the time I got back, we met on Tuesday. And the contractor hired S&M Farms. They came in on Thursday. So I apologize. I did not check my emails. I was not around. So I do apologize. I think we did the best we can to correct the erosion issue. I don't know, Judy, if you can pull up the pictures of the corrected area, just to kind of show what we did. I have some ideas on some drainage. I need to get an engineer to review those, but we're just trying to do the right thing and make the corrections. What's happening is it's coming over from the stormwater is coming from Pratt Way and sheeting off from the DPW kind of towards the forest main entry into the site. And with that freak rainstorm that we had, everybody kind of got the same situation. So we did the best we could, and we got it corrected, and looking for the next steps.
Great. Judy, were you able to find the photos of there we go.
You can see how it's sloping towards that low point. The superintendent marked up some drawings showing what he would propose. Not ready to submit those. We're not engineers. So we have to get an engineer to look at that and see what the correct action would be, and then we'll present to conservation.
And so looking at that photo, it looks like the failed erosion controls are still in place, and you've added some in front of them.
Yes, because it was we were going to go 20 feet on either side of where it broke, clean it up, and then when the contractor was out there with the installer, they just said, let's just go the whole route and do it again. And if you can see in that far back corner of that picture where the road is, we put a little check area again to try to slow it down as it comes into the site.
I was trying to zoom in, and I think Judy moved it. I see it there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a crazy storm. It happened pretty quick. I'm sure that, we're not the only ones out there that are battling it and across the state. It's been kind of a crazy year.
Okay, so I'm glad things look buttoned up. And Judy and Anna, you feel comfortable with where the erosion controls are right now?
Yeah, I think the issue was, so originally the spec was only for wattle, and they had optionally added silt fence, but it wasn't trenched. So it just was flopping around. But it looks like we haven't been out to verify, but it looks like the new silt fence appears more correctly installed, and we can absolutely verify that, but it's good to see multiple layers of additional wattle as well.
So is it Dumas?
Yes.
Okay. Number one, you're allowed to go on vacation. I go on vacation. I'm not going to hold it against you that you went on vacation. It feels like you probably need more levels of who's in charge if you're on vacation, because we need to be able to get in touch with people if there's an issue. It's simply, we can't have a situation where when we find a problem, we can't get in touch with someone who can rectify the problem for 5 days. I want you to enjoy a vacation, presumably with your family, but we need to be confident that there is a system in place and a communication stream in place where we can get in touch with someone if we find a problem, if Anna or Judy gets out there. And so one hope I have is there will be more rain, that hopefully better systems are in place communication-wise, so that if there is a problem, and we can hope there won't be, that at least we know that there's a way to get in touch with someone, that emails or phone calls are forwarded automatically to whoever is not on vacation. I
can answer that if you don't mind.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, it was literally an email about 4:22. I had my out of the office set for 5 o'clock, and I checked out a little early. And the out of the office and the direct over to my assistant project manager was not in until the next day. That's okay. It was just a myriad of issues, and we're correcting it on our end so it doesn't occur again.
Good. Just as we're plugging holes in the silt fence, hopefully we can plug holes in that communication system.
Agreed.
The other thing I'd say is I've been on the commission for a while, and we've run into violations. I offer very respectfully, I'm tired of hearing it was just a freak storm. I can't tell you how many times I've heard freak storm is the reason we had a problem. freak storms are the norm at this point. They're not freak storms. We get them every summer. So hopefully, again, we don't have any more problems. If we do, please, please, please don't chalk up freak storm for the reason for the problem, because at least for me, and I think I probably speak for at least a couple other commission members, we've heard enough about freak storms. Our 100-year storms are like 18-month storms at this point, it seems to me. And I just think it's incumbent on you guys to prepare for what no longer are freak storms. They come up every summer at this point. But I'm glad that things look buttoned up. We obviously can't move forward with the other part of the project, the regrading, until we get plans, and then we'll have stormwater, and that's a whole different discussion. But on the violation, I will hold my tongue for a bit. Are there any commission members that have thoughts or questions for Mr. Dumas? It's like, no. All right, so my thought is this. I'm a huge baseball fan, and I don't know if other countries have 3 strikes and you're out, but baseball has given that to us. I don't know that I believe in 3 strikes you're out, but I certainly think 1 strike is allowed. And hopefully this is your only strike. I myself, and I'll look to the commission to see if they're comfortable, I'm comfortable with saying, please don't have this mistake again. Please make sure we have systems in place that hold the water back. And if they don't, we have systems in place where we can get in touch with someone quickly. If you can give us your word on that, I am comfortable saying this was really, really unfortunate and we don't want it to happen again. Are there commission members who feel differently, or are you comfortable with that message being sent?
I'm comfortable with that message.
Thank you, Jim. Okay. All right. So with that, Mr. Dumas, I guess we will look forward to plans for regrading and stormwater management and the other part of the project. Judy, it looked like your hand popped up. Am I about to forget something?
No, you're good.
I thought I saw this.
There's been a fly attacking me, so if you see me batting at something.
So yeah, with that, I would imagine that when we get those plans, it'll take some work for us to look through them. Anytime that stormwater numbers are thrown at me, I'm looking to other commission members to help me out with that. And perhaps we're going to ask Joe to get involved to help us look at new plans. But that's all for a discussion down the road.
Understood. Thank you.
So do you feel good moving on, Mr. Dumas?
I do.
Okay. Thank you for
Thank you.
meeting, and here's to better times in front of us.
Same. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. I'm going to stay on and listen to the next one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And there is a next one at 9:15 p.m. We go to another similar violation, although there is one big difference with this one. Judy, can you give us the introduction to this one as well, please, with maybe some photos? And I don't know if you were able to use at all the photos I sent today. I don't know if they would be helpful, but if they're only stuck on the phone, that's fine.
Yeah, they're like 2 phones deep, but I will get them in there at some point.
Okay.
Yep, so happy to give an overview of this one. Scroll down to my pictures here. So same storm. On August 4th, we were doing some rounds at construction sites, and we were informed by the contractors of the repaving of the loop road, which was permitted by the commission through an RDA earlier this year, that sediment had entered into wetland resource area following the storm. We observed that stormwater had kind of funneled into this one spot here, eroded and undercut both of the wattle and the silt fence, and resulted in quite a bit of sediment extending probably 50 to 100 feet back into wetland resource area. So pretty significant release. This is an outlet that was silted up as a result, but it looks like it was coming from that eroded area. Not that this was leading into anything, if that makes sense. This is sort of the the ponded area at the end of the outlet. The contractors have also been working with LEC since the incident. They've since reported that the erosion controls have been repaired, that eroded area has been patched up, and they've added some check dams to slow the flow of water into that area. And they did ask LEC to provide input on the impact to the wetland itself and whether this material needs to be cleaned up. So they have a stance on that. This is another case where I haven't had Joe go out yet. So he's looking at this digitally, but if you want him to go out there as well, I think that's something you can request. So that's it for me.
Great, thank you. I will share with the commission just narratively. I was out at the site tonight at 6 o'clock. And so you might have heard me reference photos I sent to Judy. I am not a wetland scientist, and I will hope that Joe will be able to go out to give us some input on whether it should be cleaned up or not. By my estimation, and I am not a scientist, but by my estimation, just kind of digging my finger into the muck, close to that outlet, closest to the road, it was my estimation that there might have been an inch, maybe a little more thickness, just judging by my knuckles, to the gunky sediment close to the road. When you get much further from the road, and it does go quite a bit into the wetlands, by my estimation, it was a couple millimeters thick before it felt like I was hitting a different kind of dirt. So to me, it's not an even, and it makes sense that it's not an even spreading of sediment, right? It would drop out as the water keeps flowing. But my estimate was that it's plenty thicker closer to the road than it is further away. I also can say it looked like that the new erosion controls look like they're in good shape. Everything along the road looks repaired. The drainage ditch is still silted up, but there are some straw wattles around the outlet there, presumably preventing future problems if they come up. With that, Rich, do you have your side of the story?
Yes, very similar to your side. I think we're on the same side tonight. Rich Kirby, LEC Environmental, with me tonight, Dan Bertacci of Commodore Builders, the contractor. And I had put together a PDF, Judy, that I had sent to you and Anna. If I can share it, or if you want to pull it up, I can kind of there you go, overview with the commission, sort of our involvement. The enforcement order is dated August 5th. The contractor reached out to LEC, August 4th. Contractor reached out to LEC on August 5th, and I was out there the morning of August 6th. This is an aerial image sort of indicating the violation area. And it's a big circle because it includes some of the upgradient roadways that contributed to the sediment release within the wetland. Next slide. So this is the stormwater outfall. So in addition to the stormwater undermining the erosion controls right at the discharge, very near to the viewer's right in this photograph, we also had sediment coming from upgradient street drainage that was entering into the catch basins that had silt sacks. And the silt sacks held back the coarse material, but the fine material bypassed through the filter bag into the system, discharged into this outlet, and then spread across roughly 500 square feet of wetland area. Next slide. Here's a view of that area. Again, it's probably about 60-ish feet long and maybe 8-ish feet wide, depending on where you're looking, where you're measuring. It's not a large area. Fortunately, there's a bit of a topographic berm separating this area from down gradient portions of the wetlands, so it was all captured in here. Next slide. Similarly, I sort of investigated the depth of the sediment. Most of that 500 square foot area, the sediment is like you had suggested, Ted. I measured it in inches, about 1/8 of an inch thick. And here I used my shovel to sort of scrape back the veneer of sediment that's over the organic rich topsoil beneath. So it would be extremely difficult to remove that without removing, you know, an inch or two of the native soils beneath it, I'm of the mind it may be worth just leaving in place. The inch or so that's right at the outfall, that may be worth removing because you could more easily do that with more realistically do that with a shovel. Next slide. Fortunately, the stream that extends beneath Loop Road was unaffected by the sediment release. Nothing entered there that we could see. The water was running clear. There's no evidence of any sediment deposition within the stream. Next slide. Here's a view of some of the upgradient roadway work that they're doing. You can see the curbs were removed and you have exposed soil along the roadway edges. So when it rained, the water carried that sediment down into and toward the catch basins. Next slide. Here's another view. You can see how that could easily happen, especially with a thunderstorm. You're going to have some concentrated flows that's going to carry that sediment, even though the silt sacks were in place within the catch basins in the roadway. The next slide will show you an image of the catch basin where you can see a lot of the coarse sediment sort of settling out onto the pavement. Whatever made its way into the silt sack was captured, and then the very fine sediment is what transferred through the filter fabric and toward that stormwater outfall. Next slide. When I was there the morning of August 6th, catch basin silt sack replacement was already underway. They had repaired the silt fence in the compost sock where it blew out beneath during that concentrated flow. Next slide. And that same day, the contractor developed this plan that was based on our recommendations. So we want to slow the water down and allow a lot of that sediment to drop out before it makes its way to the silt sack, to the catch basins. So we had recommended some compost sock check dams along that roadway edge, along with replacing the catch basin silt sacks and installing compost sock check dam at the stormwater outfall. So any water that flows out of that flared end would have, would be at least partially contained, again, slowing the water down, allowing the sediment to move out. Next slide. Let me kind of zoom in here just to give you some photographs of what that looks like. You can see the U-shaped compost sock check dams along the roadway edge. In the two photographs on the right and in the photograph on the left, you can see the check dam established at the outfall. Next slide. Here are some photographs that were provided to me. Since I was out at the site, they ordered more compost sock, installed more of those sort of U-shaped check dams. Next slide. They also hired a vacuum truck to come out and clean all of the catch basins. So all of the sediment that is at the bottom and the sump of these catch basins was vacuumed out and the silt sacks were replaced. Fortunately, this work is, this condition that the site is in is really a very short-term thing. The roadway pavement binder was installed yesterday and the curbing is set to commence tomorrow. So once that curbing is in, then the stormwater, the roadway will no longer be in contact with that sort of soil berm along the edge. And the stormwater will be directed to the catch basins by way of the curb along the edge of the pavement. So sediment potential should be significantly reduced as the week progresses. We do have a little bit of rain coming up Sunday into Monday, I believe. Looking at the forecast, it's less than a ½ inch. So the site should be positioned well to protect the resource areas against any further sedimentation. And with that, I turn it back to the chair.
Thank you, Rich. I did mention at the outset of this item that there is one significant difference between this and our last violation. And Rich, I want to thank you and your folks. This was self-reported. This was not Anna and Judy finding the problem. You guys let us know ahead of time and that you were working on it. And I really, 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 really appreciate that you guys got on it right away. I also appreciate you didn't blame a freak storm, but you may have had the benefit of the last hearing.
Yes, no, I've learned my lesson the hard way several times on that, not only here but in other towns too. Thunderstorms are less few and far between than they used to be. That's for sure.
But again, in complete seriousness, thank you for self-reporting. Thank you for getting on the problem before we even knew there was a problem. I do think I would like for Joe to have a look. I think, because I don't trust myself necessarily, but I am happy that you saw the same thing I saw, that probably close to the road, that some cleanup makes some sense, and a little further on, probably it would cause more damage. But I would like to ask Joe to go out there and give it a look. With regard to this violation, I would take the same route I took with the last, which is, please don't do it again. Please, it sounds like you guys are getting close to at least a stage where the work is being, how to phrase, once those curbs are in, these problems are a lot less likely to happen. And it sounds like the curbs are days away. So
Correct, starting tomorrow. And we talked with the contractor about, they can get a fair amount of curb done in one day, but starting in the more sensitive areas, starting at the point where the water overtops or undercut rather the erosion controls, and sort of working your way up gradient, similar to how we approached the erosion control protections. You start at the problem and work your way up.
That's great. Good. With that, I feel comfortable with a finger wag accompanied by a thank you for the self-reporting. Commission members, does anybody have anything to add or questions to ask? Going once, twice. Rich, as long as I have you on the phone, I did go down there tonight at 6-ish. And one of the things that caught my eye, and maybe it's not, I didn't see a problem, but I was alarmed by the size of the fill piles near the baseball field. So I took a look at those and I didn't see any problems. Nothing was going beyond the erosion controls. Right where that parking sign is, right there.
Yeah.
There are massive fill piles there, like 9 feet high, maybe something on there, really, really big.
Yeah.
So I did take a quick look. They are backed up on the back of that parking area by those concrete lane dividers you see on highways.
Yeah.
And for the most part, that's holding back the stuff. There were a couple places where some dirt was flowing under those piles, and a couple places where there were some piles of dirt that had somehow gotten on the other side. But nothing, as near as I could tell, without really endangering myself with poison ivy, nothing was on the other side of the silt fences. But it was a scary looking pile of potential problems. So hopefully it doesn't become a real problem. But when I saw those, it was alarming to me. But maybe we approved it. Maybe that was all part of the plan. I'm not sure.
Well, Dan Bertacci is on the line from representing the contractor. I don't know, Dan, if you want to chime in. Do you know how much longer those fill piles are going to be there, and if it's going to be more than a week or so? Do you think we could get some compost socks around the base?
Yes, we definitely can put some compost socks around the base. We'll be working with the contractor to get those piles removed starting tomorrow.
Great, and just to let the commission know. Down, if you use your cursor, down to the western part of the parking area, Judy, there's a gravel pile there, which doesn't concern me at all. But then it runs almost the rest of the length of that parking area, the fill piles. And again, I'd say they're 8 feet tall. I'm no good at measuring distance, but it's almost the length of the parking area. And again, there's no problem right now, but it was scary looking to me. The other thing I wanted to point out, and I don't know if this is an issue that would concern you guys, that you might want to talk to the police about. There are signs that say there's not supposed to be any traffic. There were a lot of people going to that baseball field and parking in that parking area. And if that traffic jeopardizes some of the stuff that you guys have put up, you might want to talk to the police and say there are people going around the signs. If that doesn't concern you, then okay. but I thought I would mention it to you because if it was me doing that work, I would want no one to be. There were also joggers. I imagine that's less frightening. But big pickup trucks driving adult men to play adult baseball on the field and parking in that parking area might be something you might talk to the police about limiting. But
Through the chair.
Yeah.
Chris Eberly, Vertex. We've seen you guys a lot. We have consistently attempted through multiple means to make the public aware that they should not be entering that area while it's in construction. And the residents of Hopkinton are dedicated to entering that area regardless of what we tell them. That area has been open to the public in terms of its access to the Hopkins School. But while I appreciate the commission's AHJ responsibility to investigate the wetlands, I would encourage any members of the public to not enter that area as it remains under construction for at least about 2 weeks for their own safety. I believe it's still appropriately labeled as such.
It's very, very clear. There is a sign right next to the high school driveway. It's a huge sign in the middle of the road that says no traffic allowed. So I don't think it's for lack of signage.
Yeah, even when we had a fence blocking the area, people were going around the fence. And even when we had trucks that were actively moving dirt around, we had people walking around the trucks. Yeah. So it has been a constant battle. We appreciate the love of the outdoors that the residents of Hopkinton show, but we always caution people against entering construction areas because there is legitimate safety concern.
Yeah, and I'm with you. And again, I'm not scolding you guys in this case at all, which is why I thought, I don't know if you would be interested in reaching out to the police department and maybe they could increase their patrols through there and to change at least the car behavior.
I think the best we can do is hope to end the construction very soon, and the paving will do a lot of that. The other thing that Rich didn't mention is that part of that paving involves the disturbed dirt that was in the photos that were shared earlier are areas where we are repaving the walks. And so you obviously can't have anything there as you're preparing to pave an asphalt walk. And so once that asphalt is down on those walks, that will also help with the erosion control because we'll have impermeable surfaces there as well.
Great. I just wanted you to alert you to what I saw in case it's something you wanted to follow up on.
We continue to follow up on it almost daily.
Through the chair, this is Ed.
Yes, Ed, I was about to say, commission members, anything else?
Yeah, I think this is the perfect application for one of our flock cameras.
Ah, there you go. Pulling up another controversial town issue. Commission, anything else on this particular violation of the work going on?
No. Well, actually, let me just say one thing. In the last residence issue with stormwater, you mentioned that was like strike one. So I think it would be fair to call this strike one too, and not expecting another strike. But
and I don't necessarily believe in 3 strikes for violation. So I agree. I mean, while I love that you self-reported, the violation looks a lot like the other one, and I would love to not see anymore. So I agree with you, Jim. Thank you for that. With that, I think we can move on. Chris and Rich, thank you very much. And hopefully that works buttoned up lickety-split.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you. And Joe, hopefully you can get out there and have a look and give us your impression.
Yeah. And I would just say, Joe, if you see anything different or have any other ideas, concerns, etc., please don't hesitate to reach out.
And through the chair, if Joe could just reach out to the contractor or to the Vertex man on site, George McMahon, when he's on site, that way we can make sure that the right communication lines are there to get it appropriately dealt with.
Yeah, I can help coordinate that.
Great. Thank you, everybody. And here's hoping no more mistakes.
All right. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night. All right, Commission, we're almost at the end here. Our next work session item, I'm going to suggest we table. It's Commission Liaison reappointments, but because we're missing 2 members, I would love to just kind of hold off on this. I will say I am willing to be our ZAC representative for another term, but let's make that official at our next meeting when hopefully we have our full commission to talk about the appointments. Are you all comfortable with tabling that for another meeting?
Well, Ted, this is Jim.
Yes, Jim.
I am also.
Well, we lost you. You are also. Well, there's a cliffhanger for next episode.
In his absence, we appoint him.
So anyway, we will table that and talk about those appointments, including the Lake Maspinock opening that we still haven't filled. Item number 8 is the conservation minute, DPW rain barrel promotion. Judy, you want to tell us really quickly what that is?
Yep, super quickly. I just wanted to highlight an initiative that Carrie and the DPW have been pushing. They are hosting a rain barrel promotion for residents. It's $85 for a rain barrel. They have to be ordered by September 16th. These are a really great way to capture and reuse stormwater. If you've got a wet spot in your lawn or want to be more understanding of the amount of runoff that comes off your roof, these are really great. So flyers in the folder. I'm available as a resource, or folks can also reach out to Carrie Reed, but wanted to make sure Commission's aware of what's going on here and encourage you all to share this with your friends and family and neighbors.
And that's an $85 one-time payment?
Yep, for 1 barrel, and you own it. Yep, you take it home.
You own it. It's not a rental. Great. I'm going to think about my yard. I have a very small yard, but maybe there's room for that. That way you can water you can't wash your car with it, but you can water some of the plants without violating our drought restriction rules. Gets us to the public forum. Do we have any public forum requests?
No, we do not.
We have none. Our next meeting is August 25th, and here's hoping Melissa will be back to run the show. But in the meantime, can I get a motion and a second to adjourn tonight's meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Great.
Just a question first. Our next meeting, is it going to be Zoom or in person?
I think we are in Zoom unless otherwise noted. We probably won't be in person based on the way things have been going until the early spring, maybe roughly feels like the next time we might talk about it in person.
Okay.
Maybe late winter, something like that, I think is roughly the pattern we fall into.
All right. Do you need a motion or a second to adjourn?
Second for the adjourn.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second. One final roll call vote. Ed Harrow.
Aye.
Jim Cirillo.
Aye.
Oh, and you're back. I'm excited for that cliffhanger you gave us. Peggy Shaw.
I don't know what happened.
Peggy was an aye. I heard Walter Garland.
Aye.
And Ted Barker Hook is an aye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for tolerating me as your chair for tonight's meeting. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Great job, Ted.
Well done.
And everyone.
Well done. Thanks, everybody. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you, Jim. Cousins.